Hello everyone, I'm Griffiths and this is Coffee with Ceri. Now if you've not seen one of these before, basically I choose a subject and I talk about it from my own point of view. I hopefully try to give both sides of the topic I'm talking about. No wanting to offend anyone in any way, shape or form. And I do it basically because maybe it plants a seed, maybe it starts a conversation, maybe it raises awareness. I mean, who knows? It's just there. And if I'm sat here for like 10 to 15 minutes with my cup of coffee, maybe you're sat there 10 to 15 minutes with your cup of coffee. So this month's subject now, this is pretty much, it could be applicable to many things, but I'm coming it from an artist or a crafter's point of view. And the subject is making decisions in a timely fashion. That's probably a really long-winded way of saying don't get squirreled. And that's squirreled. Squirreled. You know, those little creatures with a furry tail. Anyway, you see what I mean? Don't get squirreled. Anyway, let's move on with this one. So I have found, because of my anxiety that I struggle with sometimes, and because of my OCD, which I also struggle with sometimes, and because of my perfectionism, which I'm always struggling with, I have always found that I try to make all the decisions in the thing I'm creating before I even start working on it. And it's very difficult. Sorry, gulp of coffee. It's not very difficult. It's a very unwise decision to make, to start something, and then before you've even started to progress with it, you've already decided where this piece is going, what that color is, where this jewel is going, what the end product's going to look like. I have found through my artistic journey that by putting parameters on your journey to the end result, or the goal, should you wish it to call it that, cramps your style. It limits what you can do. It stops you deviating from that pathway to the point that maybe you end up ruining something that potentially could be amazing. I I was very much guilty of this for a very long time. I would sit there, and before I'd even start creating, I would have made myself a list of must use this, got to use this, got to use this tool will do this if I do that. And it would so constrain me that I wasn't feeling the joy of organically creating something. Hopefully this is sounding clear. It sounds a bit muddy coming back at me, but I'm sure it's making sense to somebody. And over my journey, I have now realized that you have to have a kind of end goal in mind to start a project or a creation in the first place. Like you don't walk in and suddenly just grab something and stick it down. You come in with, okay, for me, am I going to work on a canvas? Am I going to work on a board? Am I going to do ephemera? Am I going to do collage? Am I going to do a constructional piece? Am I going to build a fairy house? Am I going to paint a picture? Am I going to do watercolor? There has to be some reason or end goal that you start with. And then as soon as you know what the end is, you kind of sort of gather your supplies, or at least I do. And now what I'll do is I tend to think, is there a theme? And the theme could be anything from, is it countryside? Is it male? Is it female? Is it abstract? Is it whatever it is? Is it random? Which a lot of the time stuff I do is random. So having some sort of theme then helps me narrow it down. A lot of the time with me, I've discovered, is my theme is very much driven by colour. I tend to reach for a family of colours before I even start a project. So say I'm working with acrylics, I'll maybe go with a warm palette, or I'll go with a cool palette. Very rarely I go with both palettes at the same time. If I'm doing a collage from, say, magazine images, I will go through my magazine snippets and that, and I unconsciously will have chosen cool colours or warm colours. And I think even when it comes, I mean, I do quilt, not hugely, but I have quilted over the years. And even when I'm picking fabrics, I tend to do the same thing. And knowing that I do tend to gravitate towards a family of colours sort of helps me relax, because I'm like, okay, I'm in the warm colours, I feel safe in the warm colours, or I'm in the cool colours, I feel safe there. If I try mixing them up, all of a sudden I get, oh, I've got major decisions to make. Is this a complementary? Is this a harmonic? Is this a contrast? What is it? So I tend to leave those sort of things till I'm coming to the point in the process that actually needs those decisions made. I do many layers of stuff when I create. As anyone who watches me will notice, I do layers upon layers, whether it's gel printing, collage, painting, stamping, whatever I'm doing, I deal with layers upon layers. And I don't decide what the next layer is until I put that first layer down. So I'll put the first layer down, then I'll look at it with the fresh eyes that are looking at that newly constructed piece of whatever it is, and I go, right, that now needs that, and then I'll stick that down, and then I'll go, right, that now needs that. So I have found that if I don't make decisions until the decision needs to be made, I create more originally instinct guided or organic, or whatever words you want to use for it. And I think a lot of us are so tied up with, I've got to get it right, I've got to get it perfect. Actually, I don't want to use perfectionism in this. Actually, it's just, I want to get it right. I don't want to make this a mess. I don't want to muck this up. That we are so constraining ourselves by putting parameters on our creativity that it's not helping us. I think last year I may have done a coffee with Ceri where I did say it is okay to make mistakes. Making a mistake, making a mess, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I don't really think there are mistakes in art. There are probably some unfortunate decisions, but if you think of making a mistake, if that's the term you want to use, or messing it up, it's just an opportunity to turn it around in another direction, or maybe rescue it. A lot of the stuff I've created in my life has very much come from unexpected sources. Like some of my most beautiful background papers have started off as cleanup papers from another project. So if I'm gel printing, and when there's stuff on the gel press or the gel plate, I will clean it up with spare paper and put that paper to one side, and then do the next bit and then clean it up. And it's only when I'm doing the end of the session, cleaning all the equipment and everything, I look at this piece of paper and go, oh my goodness, I would never have put all that together. And the same comes with, like, when I do masterboards. I will put stuff onto a masterboard, and to me, believe it or not, I'm quite a minimalist, and I think that harkens to my like things in a line, my OCD, whatever you wish to call it. So when I do a masterboard, sometimes I'm looking at this masterboard going, that's one unholy mess there. But once it's finished and I cut it up, and the individual elements are absolutely wonderful. So I think what I'm trying to get at is, don't constrain yourself by making decisions too early in the process. Trust the process. Work your way through it. If you've hit a point where you're standing there looking at this thing going, I have no idea what it needs, then don't make the decision at all. If you can, if the mediums you're working with allow you to do it, shut the studio door, shut the craft room door, go away, have a cup of coffee, maybe come back the next day, maybe take the entire project and put it on a shelf somewhere and come back in a week or two's time. By then, you will have got a fresh view of it. You may have learnt a new technique, you may have got a new view of it, and that's important. So, For me personally, I mean, I've been doing this for about a year now, and I'm continuing to do it. I will completely go with my instinct and my gut feelings. Um, if something feels right, I'll use it. If it doesn't feel right, I'll just put it to one side. I won't put it out of my sight because it may not have been the right decision at that time, but later in that project process, maybe that will be the right thing. So don't go, oh, I'll never use this owl in this project and put it in a drawer. No, put it to one side and then come back to it when you need it. So it's a really short one today. Just want a little chat about that. I think it's important, as I said, to make decisions in a timely manner. It's helping me be creative. Hopefully it'll help you be creative as well. And have fun doing it, guys. Okay, until next time. Bye-bye now.